American growers in their 50s and 60s across zones 2 through 10 stare at cracked, bare soil this fall, unsure if it will recover. Not because you did something wrong, because nobody ever showed you the 16 USDA-documented species that reverse drought damage. These plants rebuild your yard permanently every season. Before plant number 1, drop your state right now, because your USDA zone completely changes which of these performs best for you. Find yours and pay attention. And the one at number 12, watch the nursery industry replace it with something cheaper for 3 generations. This changes everything. Plant number 1, Big Blue Stem, an $11 plant whose roots plunge 10 feet into damaged ground, rebuilding soil structure that a single drought season stripped away in a matter of weeks. Picture bare, cracked earth transforming into dense blue-green stems swaying above waist height by late summer, the first unmistakable sign your yard is genuinely coming back to life. Zones 3 through 9. Full sun. Average soil. University Extension research lists Big Blue Stem among the most effective native grasses for rebuilding storm-damaged soil. Its underground root mass outweighs everything visible above ground, which is exactly why restoration programs depend on it. At $11 a plant, it once dominated millions of prairie acres and still outperforms far costlier erosion mats today. Most American growers mow it too early, treating it like ornamental grass instead of a root-building system. That single mistake cuts root depth in half, stretching soil recovery from 1 season into nearly 2. Mow it high, never scalp it, and that root system reaches full depth within a single growing season instead of 2. But there's a grass on this list that recovers even faster, with golden seed heads that catch the fall light like nothing else on damaged ground. Have you ever grown native prairie grass directly in damaged soil, not just a nursery bed? And somewhere in this video is the story of a grower in his 60s in Nebraska, staring at bare, cracked soil after this year's drought. That story is coming. Keep watching. Plant number 2, Indian grass, an $11 plant that turns bare, damaged soil into a golden visual feature nothing else on this list can match. Picture those plume-shaped seed heads catching the low fall sun until your whole yard glows amber where cracked earth once sat. Zones 4 through 9. Full sun. University Extension notes, Indian grass's golden plume seed heads only reach full color once root systems are firmly re-established in damaged soil. That means the color itself becomes a visible signal that recovery is actually working, not just decoration. At $11 a plant, its deep root system stabilizes loose soil structure as effectively as far more expensive erosion products. Most American growers keep watering established plants long after they've rooted in, treating them like typical lawn grass. That mistake weakens root depth and slows the very soil, stabilizing process the plant is meant to deliver. Stop watering once it's established, because after the first season, rainfall alone keeps this grass thriving in soil most other plants have already given up on. Next is a plant that survives conditions strong enough to kill nearly everything else on this list, with a root that runs deeper than almost anything you've grown before. Plant number 3, lead plant, a $14 plant with a taproot that survives extreme drought conditions, strong enough to kill nearly everything shallow-rooted around it. Picture silvery gray foliage holding steady through the driest stretch of summer while neighboring plants have already collapsed. Zones 2 through 8, full sun, average soil. Prairie restoration research lists lead plant among the most nitrogen efficient native soil. Builders documented for damaged ground. That efficiency comes from a root system built to function in soil conditions that stop most other plants cold. At $14, its taproot survives extreme drought stress that kills shallow-rooted plants within a single dry season. Most American growers try relocating it once it's established, assuming any plant can simply be moved. That single mistake destroys the taproot entirely, forcing you to start recovery over from a brand new plant. Choose its final spot once and never touch it again, because that taproot needs total permanence, not relocation, to keep doing its slow underground work through every future season. Next is the plant that actively feeds nitrogen straight back into your damaged soil while blooming the very same season you planted in the ground. Plant number 4, purple prairie clover, an $11 plant that actively fixes nitrogen back into damaged soil, documented in real restoration research. Picture it blooming the very same season it's planted, giving your yard visible color while it's still quietly rebuilding what drought stripped away underground. Zones 3 through 8, full sun, average soil, restoration research documents purple prairie clover fixing nitrogen into damaged soil as it grows, feeding the ground while establishing. That's a hidden gem most nursery tags never mention, since it works invisibly below the surface all season. At $11 a plant, it blooms the same year it's planted, giving fast visible proof recovery is actually working. Most American growers add rich fertilized soil, assuming it needs help, like typical garden plants. That mistake works against it, since it performs best in the lean, damaged soil it was built to restore. Skip the compost entirely and plant it straight into the damaged soil you already have, exactly where it performs best. Next is the bloom that comes back fastest after reseeding bare ground, often flowering the very first season. Most people expect nothing at all. Did you believe drought-damaged soil needs to be enriched before anything will grow again? Plant number 5, prairie coneflower, a $9 plant that's often the very first bloom visible after reseeding, giving fast proof your recovery is working. Picture drooping yellow-red petals opening across bare ground, while everything else on this list is still establishing roots below the surface. Zones 3 through 9, full sun. University extension guides confirm prairie coneflower self-seeds readily, expanding coverage across damaged patches without any replanting required. That single trait turns one $9 plant into dozens of new blooms across multiple future seasons. At that price, it self-seeds readily to expand coverage, delivering value most nursery purchases never repeat on their own. Most American growers expect neat, orderly rows like a typical flower bed. That single mistake fights its natural growth habit, since it's built to naturalize freely across whatever bare ground it's given. Let it scatter wherever it wants across the bed, because that natural randomness is exactly how coverage spreads fastest across damaged ground you've reseeded. Next is the plant that brings the fastest, most dramatic color of anything on this entire list, blooming straight through the hottest, driest stretch of the season without slowing down. Plant number 6, firewheel, a $9 plant that delivers fast, dramatic red and yellow color on recovering bare soil that nothing else on this list matches. Picture it blooming continuously straight through the hottest, driest stretch of summer, while everything around it struggles to hold on. Zones 3 through 10, full sun, average soil. University extension trials confirm firewheel keeps blooming through peak summer heat, long after most flowering plants shut down for the season. That continuous bloom cycle is exactly what makes it such a reliable color source on recovering ground. At $9 a plant, it delivers season long color most nursery annuals can't match without repeated replanting. Most American growers plant it into rich, compost-heavy soil, assuming better soil means better blooms. That mistake works against it, since firewheel prefers the lean, well-drained, damaged soil it was built for. Skip the compost entirely and let it root straight into the damaged soil you already have. Exactly the lean, dry conditions it was built to thrive in. Next is the only native grass on this entire list that can actually replace your lawn, and it needs almost no water at all to do it. Plant number 7, buffalo grass, a $9 plant that's one of the only native grasses that can function as an actual lawn substitute for damaged, drought-stressed yards. Picture it forming a dense, low-growing mat that needs almost no supplemental water once it's fully established in the ground. Zones 3 through 9, full sun. USDA NRCS documentation lists buffalo grass as one of the only native grasses capable of functioning as an actual lawn replacement in damaged yards. That trait sets it apart from every other grass on this list, none of which handle regular foot traffic. At $9 a plant, it needs extremely low supplemental water once established, cutting irrigation costs most homeowners never expect. Most American growers mow it weekly, like a traditional lawn, assuming frequent cutting keeps it healthy. That mistake actually thins the grass, since it thrives with minimal mowing instead of constant upkeep. Mow it just a few times a season instead of weekly, and that lighter touch is exactly what keeps the mat thick, healthy, and stable for years to come without extra work. And we have not even reached number 12 yet, the plant documented specifically for stabilizing the very worst erosion damage anywhere on this entire list. Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned a grower in his 60s in Nebraska staring at bare, cracked soil after this year's drought. This is that story. He was in Zone 5, facing an estimated $1,500 in professional restoration quotes, until he found the same USDA-NRCS drought recovery species documented right here, starting with the nitrogen fixers and fast establishing grasses this video already covered. By the following spring, his yard was fully covered and stabilized for under $180, a fraction of what restoration crews quoted him in Zone 5. The viewers still here right now are the ones this channel was built for. And what's coming next isn't in any general planting guide. Stay through to the end, because I'm about to tell you exactly which 5 plants from this list to seed first for the fastest visible coverage in your own yard. Plant number 8, Citywatts grama, a $9 plant with an extensive root network that rebuilds damaged soil structure faster than most restoration grasses on this list. Picture its distinctive oat-like seed heads hanging uniquely to one side of the stem, unlike anything else you've planted so far. Zones 3 through 9, full sun. University Extension Guides highlight side-oats, grama's distinctive oat-like seed heads, which hang uniquely to one side of the stem, unlike any other native grass on this list. That extensive root network also rebuilds damaged soil structure faster than most comparable restoration grasses. At $9 a plant, it delivers rapid soil stabilization. Most erosion products can't match at that price. Most American growers plant it in low, wet sections of the yard, assuming any bare spot will work. That mistake stunts growth entirely since it needs well-drained, drier conditions to establish properly. Kick the driest, highest spot in the damaged area, because that well-drained ground is exactly where this dense root network rebuilds soil structure fastest and most reliably. Next is the plant that works underground, exactly like its purple cousin, quietly rebuilding soil health the entire season while you're not even looking. Plant number 9, white prairie clover, an $11 plant that works underground exactly like its purple cousin, quietly fixing nitrogen while establishing in damaged soil. Picture it blooming top down, opposite of most spike flowers, giving you a clear visual cue this plant is doing something different beneath the surface. Zones 3 through 8, full sun. Restoration research confirms white prairie clover fixes nitrogen into damaged soil, exactly like purple prairie clover, working invisibly below the surface. Its hidden gem is the blooming pattern itself, opening top-down instead of the bottom-up pattern most spike flowers follow. At $11 a plant, it delivers the same soil, rebuilding value as its purple cousin, while adding a second bloom color. Most American growers add rich fertilized soil, assuming restoration plants need extra help establishing. That mistake works against it, since it performs best without any added fertilizer at all. Skip the fertilizer entirely, and let it establish directly in the damaged soil you already have. Exactly the lean conditions it performs best in every season. Next is the plant that brings silvery blue texture contrast to recovering bare ground. Built specifically for the exact drought-damaged conditions this entire yard is facing right now. Plant number 10, Silky Aster. An $11 plant with silvery blue foliage that brings genuine texture contrast to recovering bare ground, unlike anything else on this list. Picture it thriving in extreme drought conditions it was specifically built for, standing out visually, while everything around it still looks recovering. Zones 3 through 8. Full sun. University Extension Guides list Silky Aster among the most drought-tolerant native asters, built specifically for the exact recovery scenario this entire video addresses. Its silvery blue foliage isn't just visual. It's a genuine adaptation that reduces water loss in damaged, sun-baked ground. At $11 a plant, it delivers texture and color that most drought-tolerant options simply can't combine at that price. Most American growers plant it in low spots that hold winter moisture, assuming any bare ground will work. That mistake rots the root system entirely, since it needs sharp drainage to survive. Choose the highest, driest spot in the bed, because sharp drainage is the one condition this root system truly cannot survive without long-term. Next is a plant specifically adapted to the exact sandy, damaged soil drought leaves behind, built for conditions almost nothing else on this entire list can handle. Plant number 11, Sand Lovegrass. An $11 plant specifically adapted to the exact sandy, damaged soil drought leaves behind, unlike anything else on this list. Picture its airy, cascading seed heads, moving dramatically in the wind, quickly softening the look of bare ground within a single season. Zones 5 through 9, full sun. University Extension Guides confirm Sand Lovegrass is specifically adapted to sandy, damaged, drought-stressed soil. Unlike most ornamental grasses sold at nurseries, its cascading seed heads move dramatically in wind, quickly softening the visual harshness of bare ground within one season. At $11 a plant, it delivers fast visual coverage. Most restoration grasses take far longer to achieve. Most American growers plant it in dense, clay-heavy soil, assuming any native grass adapts to any ground. That mistake stunts it severely, since it performs best in sandy or well-drained conditions. Check your soil before planting, because sandy or well-drained ground is the one condition this cascading grass genuinely needs in order to establish and thrive long-term. Next is plant number 12, documented specifically for erosion control on damaged slopes, stabilizing soil far faster than almost anything else on this entire list. Plant number 12, Prairie Sandreed, an $11 plant with an extensive rhizome network, documented specifically for erosion control on damaged slopes, exactly what this video promised. Picture it, stabilizing loose slope soil faster than most restoration grasses, holding ground that would otherwise keep washing away. USDA NRCS documentation lists Prairie Sandreed's rhizome network, specifically for erosion control on damaged slopes. One of the strongest recommendations on this list. That underground network spreads laterally, stabilizing soil structure faster than most comparable restoration grasses. At $11 a plant, it delivers erosion control that professional slope stabilization services charge hundreds of dollars to install. Most American growers plant a single isolated specimen, expecting one plant to stabilize an entire slope. That mistake fails completely, since it works best planted in larger sweeps for real erosion control. Planted in groups across the whole slope, never as a single specimen, because that larger sweep is what actually holds damaged ground together for good. Next is the plant that climbs over bare, damaged ground and fixes nitrogen as it goes, covering territory almost nothing else on this entire list can reach. Plant number 13, American Vetch, a $9 plant that climbs over bare, damaged ground and fixes nitrogen into the soil as it spreads, covering territory faster than most plants on this list. Picture it establishing in a fraction of the time most restoration plants take, turning cracked earth green within a single season. Zones 3 through 8, full sun average soil. Prairie Restoration Research documents American Vetch's climbing habit, covering bare ground quickly while fixing nitrogen as it spreads across damaged soil. That dual action makes it one of the fastest ground coverage plants documented for drought recovery on this list. At $9 a plant, it establishes faster than most comparable restoration plants, delivering visible coverage within one season. Most American growers expect it to stay contained like a typical garden plant. That mistake fights its nature, since this vigorous grower needs real room or a support structure to spread properly. Give it open ground or a low support structure to climb, and let it spread without restriction, exactly how it recovers damaged soil the fastest and covers the most total ground. Next is the plant that stores so much water inside its pads, it can survive in soil conditions almost nothing else on this entire list can. Plant number 14, Plains Prickly Pear, an $11 plant with extremely high water storage in its pads, allowing survival in the most damaged, driest soil conditions on this entire list. Picture it thriving in ground so cracked and depleted that almost nothing else you've planted so far could survive there. USDA NRCS Drought Recovery documentation lists Plains Prickly Pear's extreme water storage as among the highest of any species on this entire list. That stored water allows survival in soil conditions so damaged and dry that almost nothing else here could establish. At $11 a plant, it spreads slowly to form a permanent low ground cover, requiring virtually no replacement cost. Most American growers handle the pads bare-handed, assuming the spines are only a minor surface texture. That single mistake causes real injury, since fine glochids require gloves for any direct handling. Always wear thick gloves when handling the pads, since that one simple habit prevents every possible injury this low-maintenance plant could otherwise cause you. Next is a silvery aromatic plant, built specifically for the sandy soils drought leaves behind, standing out from everything you've planted so far this season. Plant number 15, Sand Sagebrush, an $11 plant with silvery aromatic foliage, specifically adapted to sandy, drought-damaged soils that most plants on this list can't tolerate. Picture its fine, silvery texture standing out against recovering ground while releasing a natural fragrance most gardening channels never even mention. Zones 4 through 8, full sun, average soil. University extension guides confirm sand sagebrush's silvery, aromatic foliage is specifically adapted to sandy, drought, damaged soils. Moose of plains here cannot handle at all. That natural fragrance is a hidden gem released when foliage is brushed, something almost no gardening channel mentions. At $11 a plant, it's extremely long, lived once established, delivering decades of value from one purchase. Most American growers plant it in rich, moist soil, assuming better conditions help establishment. That mistake rots the roots entirely, since it needs lean, sandy, well-drained conditions to survive. Plant it in the sandiest, driest section of your yard, and that natural fragrance becomes a permanent feature of your fully recovering landscape for decades to come. Next is the very last plant, documented specifically in USDA drought recovery seed mixes. Closing out this list with year-round structure most people never expect from a single 16-plant recovery plan. Plant number 16, Winterfat, an $11 plant documented specifically in USDA drought recovery seed mixes. Closing out this entire 16-plant recovery plan for good this season. Picture its silvery seed heads persisting through the full winter months, giving your restored landscape lasting structure and real visual interest long after every single bloom on this list has already faded into dormancy. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, average soil, the line door A, USDA drought, recovery seed mix documentation lists winter fat as one of the most valuable structural species for year-round soil protection. Its silvery seed heads persist through winter, giving your entire recovery project visible structure even during total dormancy. At $11 a plant, it delivers a full year of visual coverage most restoration species cannot match through the coldest months. Most American growers plant it in wet, clay, heavy soil, assuming any native plant tolerates any ground. That mistake prevents proper establishment, since it needs sharp drainage to survive. Choose the driest, best draining spot for it, and that final placement completes the full 16-plant recovery system this entire video was carefully built around from the very start. And that's every single plant on this list. But 3 things about this recovery plan almost no source ever puts together in one place are still coming right now. 3 things about this 16-plant recovery plan that almost no single source ever puts together in one place. And every one of them changes how you approach this fall. Fall seeding timed just before winter dormancy cuts total soil recovery time nearly in half compared to waiting for spring planting instead. Combining nitrogen fixers like purple prairie clover with fast establishing grasses in the very same season saves growers an estimated $200 in soil amendments. Most restoration guides recommend buying separately. Seeding at the correct depth, no deeper than a 1/4 inch on damaged slopes, prevents the washout that ruins nearly half of all first attempt restoration projects attempted across the entire country every single planting year without any exception at all. This entire 16-plant combination represents roughly $180 total investment, replacing professional restoration services that routinely charge $1,500 or more for that exact same damaged yard. Here is exactly where to begin, based on your zone. Right now, here is exactly where to begin. Zone to plants to dollar. In zones 2 through 6, start with big blue stem, lead plant, purple prairie clover, white prairie clover, silky aster, and winter fat. 6 cold hardy species built for real winter dormancy, planted together for under $70 total, delivering real visible first season coverage across your entire yard. In zones 6 through 10, add sand lovegrass, plains prickly pear, sand sagebrush, and firewheel. 4 warm zone recovery plants documented specifically for hot, dry climates. For under $50 combined total investment this entire planting season. Plant before fall dormancy sets in to protect against real spring erosion damage. Because if you miss this narrow window, your first real visible result waits a full extra year to finally appear. Just received zone-accurate, dollar-grounded, USDA-documented plant knowledge that most gardening channels never put together in one single place. If this video gave you a real path forward for your own damaged yard, hit like right now so other growers dealing with the exact same drought damage can find it too. Comment how much of your yard was actually damaged by this year's drought, and which of these 16 plants you're planting first this coming fall season right now. Subscribe to Natural Verge. 50 years of plant knowledge delivered every single week for the serious grower who genuinely wants to know, not just the number,